Hi there, it's Brave here, and this is another video I'm doing, and this time the topic is about why are women and men sometimes addicted to toxic partners, toxic girlfriends, toxic boyfriends, regardless of whether you're gay, straight, whatever. Just why do human beings tend to go for the people who mistreat them? And that's what the topic's going to be of this video, okay? And I'd just like to say, hope everyone's doing well, wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good evening, good night. I'm over here in the UK, and it's late at night right now. It's gone past midnight, but I just felt that I wanted to get this topic up because it's something I've experienced a lot in my life, where when I've liked a person, they never liked me as much. And that's not happened all the time. I just mean there's been instances where I really liked a person and they really liked me as a friend, but then they didn't want it to go further than that. But then the people who were obsessed with me I didn't like them as much more than a friend. But there was a couple of times when I really, really liked the person and they really, really liked me, but then that person turned out to be a toxic narcissist or an abusive person. I mean, narcissists are abusive, but I just mean like there did seem to be this weird element of danger, I guess, about them. And that danger in the beginning should have been seen as a red flag, but however, it was seen as, oh, they're a bit edgy or a bit exciting, or oh, they don't follow the rules. That seems better than some nerdy goody two shoes. But however, when that person then turns their rule breaking on you and breaks your rules and crosses your boundaries and uses all that power and strength to destroy you, then it's not so funny, it's not so exciting, it's horrible, and it can be devastating. So what I found strange was the people I was drawn to the most. They always seemed they seemed like they enjoyed seeing you fight for them. So if they had a lot of options and you had a lot of options, it's like they would demand you drop all your options and you would say, yeah, of course, because I just want you. I could have anyone else, but I want you. And they pretend and say, yeah, me too, when really they didn't drop their options. They encourage the other options to fight for them too. So they drop little hints like, well, I want to be with you, but I've got this other woman over here and she's younger than you and more beautiful, and maybe I should look in her direction. And that stirs a lot of jealousy in some people. Some people would say, oh, you're playing games, get away from me. But then other people will be like, oh, game on, I'm going to destroy her so I can be the only one you want. So that happened a couple of times where I was the best contender or whatever, but then these lesser women, because I'm a straight woman and so I'm looking for a straight male of any culture. I'm not fussy about culture. As long as you're a good person and you're kind, we can be together. But it's weird how I just assumed that people were straight up and honest. I never thought that people would be so dishonest to be, lining up multiple women, telling them all what they wanted to hear, and then weirdly trying to have them in the same place at the same time to kind of trigger these weird, jealous, I don't know, almost like a triangle, like I remember one time there was a man who, he said he would give up everything for me, and I was like, well, why would you have to give up your life? You don't have to give up anything. You can have your life and me. What's the problem? But he was meaning that in his culture he can only be with someone of his culture, and I never felt that way, that I have to stick with my own culture. I just felt like anyone who was kind to me, I would be kind to them. We would protect each other, learn each other's cultures, respect each other's cultures, whatever. But for some weird reason, this guy, even though I learned his culture, even though I was welcomed into his culture by the people who mattered, he still had this weird superficialness that, like the other person, she was a violent, disgusting drug addict, drunkard, and I was, a good, decent earth angel, to be honest. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, but I've always been called like an earth angel because I look after people. I help feed the homeless, I protect people, I would give my life to protect people. I'm very, very noble like that, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying that's how I am. And people always commented on it and said, wow, you're like an earth angel, you literally saved me. And I have actually literally saved people's lives about 3 different times. Like even when I was a kid, one of those times I was a kid and I saved someone from drowning, and then 2 other times I saved 2 adults from their lives would have been taken if I wasn't there or if I didn't step in. So, that's not me being big headed, that's just me stating facts. So to me, it's just weird how this man who claims he'll do anything for me was okay with seeing me in pain and seeing me upset and messing with my head. And I just thought that was really weird that if I'm the closest person to you, that's what you said, then why am I not the one you are afraid to hurt? Like you should be so terrified of losing me, you should be so terrified of hurting me, and yet the first thought you had was, oh, how can I aggravate her? Well, let me give some attention to this other crazy woman over here. Even though that's a dangerous game as well, he's provoking the emotions of an unstable woman. The other woman was extremely unstable. She had alcohol issues, drug issues. She had a mental problem, whether it was caused by the drug and alcohol stuff, I don't know. But she clearly had either narcissistic personality disorder or bipolar disorder or both. Like she was very, very unstable, and it was clear she was unstable. And so it was very strange how she would behave and react to certain things. Like if he tried to even just look at me, she would go ballistic. And I would think, oh my god, like why would he want to be with someone like that? And then he did admit to me that she hit him, beat him up every time he mentioned my name and stuff like that. And he was a big guy. Like I'm 5'11", he was like 6'4". So even I looked up to him like, wow, you're taller than me and I'm pretty tall. And like, so when he would say she's beating him up, I kind of didn't believe him at first, which, is kind of wrong of me. I shouldn't not believe someone who's trying to tell me their trauma. But at the time, it just seemed laughable. Like, she's half your size. How could she do that? But then at the same time, it was the reason I didn't believe him was because he had lied to me. It wasn't that I wasn't sympathetic of trauma. I definitely am. I've been through terrible stuff too, and I've experienced people not showing me sympathy or kindness, you know, because they're horrible people. But I wasn't being horrible to him. I just was like, well, are you sure? Is that really what's going on? And then when he showed me, scratches and bruises, and I was like, oh, whoa, she is crazy then. She is attacking you. Why are you staying with her? But he literally was only staying with her, he said, because of who her dad was. Her dad was some famous person in their country, like he wasn't a film star with tons of films. He was just like a one-hit wonder, but he was very beloved by their people. And for some bizarre reason, this guy who liked me and I liked him, he was like obsessed with that guy. So imagine if you, I don't know, loved Bob Marley and then you find out that my granddad is Bob Marley, and you're gonna want to be attached to him through me, I guess, vicariously. But yeah, so when I said, are you really going to put up with this violence just because her dad, she shares DNA with an actor you like? And the weird thing is, she never even knew her dad. The dad abandoned the family when she was a kid. She grew up in poverty, so she didn't even like the dad. So it was weird that this guy's obsessed with her bloodline and she couldn't care less. She hated her dad. But so he was never going to meet him, is what I mean. But I just found it really weird how he could tolerate such abuse, such toxicity just for superficial reasons, and other people outside in their community, outside of their relationship, yet were looking at their relationship, seeing how crazy it was, but still encouraging him to stay, which was bizarre because they didn't like me. That some people were jealous, or when I say jealous, I mean jealous of the way I always held my head high, and I had a lot of strength, and I wasn't scared of them. They couldn't threaten me or scare me or do anything to me. I would still stand there and say, "What's up? I'm not scared of you." Like, you're nothing, and that really bothered them, that they just couldn't get under my armor. They couldn't touch me, it was like water off a duck's back. And then that really bothered them. So, but because in the beginning they loved me and adored me, but as soon as me and this guy started to get close, there was this weird jealousy thing of, oh, I hate how close he seems to her. I hate how much he seems to adore her. It was weird. I was like, do these women want to be with him? Like, why do they care? It was very strange. I have no idea why this kept happening amongst this group, just this obsession with me and him. But yet, if I looked at any other guy, it wasn't a problem. It was just me and him they seemed to have a problem with. Like, he was, it's like he was elevated. They elevated him above them, and they didn't want me to be on that elevated platform for some reason, even though I would have used it for good. And I was good at my position in that community. I was extremely well respected. And then they just, I don't know, they just hated that. And people have always hated my light. I've always been full of light and love and caring, but I won't take any crap from anyone. And that's the thing. As extremely nice and kind I can be extremely the opposite, if you get what I'm saying. If you cross me, but I don't want to show that side of me, but I wouldn't cross me if I was you. But like, yeah, so for me it was extremely weird to see how people reacted to us being a power couple, or us, going forward together. It was like they were determined to break it up. And yeah, it was just really sad. And when I look back, he was toxic towards me, and he would have been a toxic relationship, because had he chosen me, it wouldn't have been for good reasons anyway. So I don't know, it's very strange. But so yeah, when we're talking about the subject of why people tend to mistreat people who are, nice or kind, or, some people might be a bit nerdy, some people might be considered boring, but if someone's kind, that's not boring. They're just a kind, generous person. People should appreciate that. So why on earth would people be drawn to the bad? So let's explore that for a moment and think, is it because people expect more fun out of someone who's going to act wild and break the rules? Or, like, in my opinion, when I saw someone who society considered bad, like, I don't know, someone who's a drug dealer or a gang member, I never saw them as good, ever. I never went, oh wow, they've got, so much money in their pocket and a big posh car, I need to be around them. Because I knew at the core of them, they were rotten or cruel or nasty, or probably capable of killing you. And so that never appealed to me. However, have I been out with people who seemed toxic and wild, or the bad boy? Yes, but the reason they were seen that way, I thought was a facade, was a mask. I didn't believe that was a real them, and I saw a side of them that was different. So they showed me they can be kind, they can be sweet, they can be loving, and that it was that I was clinging to. So when people would say, why are you with that toxic person in public, they're so toxic, and I'd be like, well, when they're with me alone, they're not that person, and I'm trying to encourage them to change and be a better person. I'm trying to reach them, I'm trying to save them. And that was also a problem of mine, trying to rescue everyone, and no one would be willing to rescue me or help me when I needed it. But when when I was always looking to help people and rescue people and want them to be comfortable, they would happily take that care, build themselves back up, or I built them up, I should say, and then I healed them, and then they go off and take that lovely feeling and enjoy their life with someone else. So that sometimes happen where, they almost use you like a human healing teddy bear, and then you think, well, I've healed you now, let's go off and be happy. It's like, oh no, I'm going off with this toxic person over here. And it's like, oh great. So that was all. Not always, I mean, that was, an example of what I'd experienced, where I saw a different side of a person who would be considered toxic. Now, however, some of these people were narcissists, very, very clever narcissists that appeared kind and loving and approachable and sweet. And therefore, when you approach them, you were never going to be aware at the beginning what devious, horrible, degenerate, disgusting people they were. Just the vile, evil monsters that laid behind their smile. You couldn't know it was there because they were so very good at hiding it. They went out of their way to mimic you. If you're an empath, a kind person, a light worker, an earth angel, if you're all those good things, and then you meet someone who appears to be just like you, almost like a clone of you, but they're a male and you're female and you want a male, and then you're like, wow, this person is my soulmate because they're perfect in every way. But really, what the narc is doing is copying you, mimicking you. You say you want to feed the world and world peace, they say it, but then you think that's their thought, but it's just the mirror. They're mirroring you, they're mimicking you, and then you really get sucked in, and they love bomb you to death. They tell you how much oh my God, I've never met anyone like you. Oh my gosh, I don't know what your life was like before, but I'm here now and I'm going to rescue you and everything's going to be okay. And imagine you saying that to a broken person who's been, treated unfairly their whole life by what feels like the whole world, and they got the weight of the world on them. And even though they're happy and enjoy their life, but they've got trauma, they're carrying that trauma. And when someone appears to come in like an earth angel and said, don't worry, all that doesn't matter because I'm here now. Don't worry, I'm here. All that doesn't matter. And even if you went through all that, it led you to me. Look how lucky we're going to be now. You say that to a broken person, that's like going to an orphanage and saving the orphan and saying, hey, I'm here now. Don't worry that your parents abandoned you or something terrible happened to your family. I'm here now and you're safe now. Everything's going to be fine now. So imagine saying that. This is what a narc has said to me. And because I'm a broken person, I've had a lot of trauma, then I'm just like, I burst into tears because it's like God answered my prayers. So then when this person sees that, they're like, oh, I got this person under my thumb now. All I had to say was a couple of stupid things. Like, to them, it's a stupid thing. To you, it's a profound, fated destiny moment. That's why you burst into tears. You're like, oh my God, my whole life has been so difficult, but now it's going to be okay. Oh, thank God, And then to them, it's like, ha ha ha, got you now. Now I can start my tirade of abuse next week. They're penciling it into their diary. So yeah, that is it, extremely difficult. And I think I'll do another video that specifically talks about what it is like to be in a relationship with a narcissist, and how cruel they can be and how difficult it can be to leave, no matter how horrible they're being, because their manipulation is so high. Like, you kind of don't even realize you're being manipulated until it's too late. And then even when you do, your feelings are so messed up, your reactions are so messed up, you kind of second guess yourself and they gaslight you and so many things. It's crazy making. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I could tell you guys about narcissists, especially covert narcissists, because I had two parents who were both narcissists. So imagine that. So you got, a lot going on from day one, and then you grow up and you're trying to navigate everything on your own with no support, and you've been through a lot, and then at the end of it, you just feel like you just want someone to come and rescue you, even though you're tough as nails and you don't need anyone, but you would like someone to come and help if possible, just like how you help hundreds of people every year, and you just wouldn't mind being one of these people who gets some help. But yeah, so I don't know, it's just, yeah, something weird about human beings going to, like a moth to the flame. That's the only way I can think to describe it. Some of us are like moths to a flame, and we keep getting burnt and we keep getting burnt, but we forget that we were burned just 2 weeks ago, because you're trying to hold on to that fake mask, that when they put on the fake mask and it was beautiful, even if it was a lie, it was an earth angel, but that was you they were mimicking. You were the earth angel. So if you thought they were so amazing and so great, then you need to think that you're amazing and so great, because you were that of which they were showing you. So all that kind talk and generosity and, saying all the right things, that was you. You did that. And they just copied it. And so you should never think that you're not enough, because you were good enough that they wanted to go towards you. And because they're, they have evil ways, and evil always wants to snuff out the good. So the fact that they even chose you as their victim shows you were a worthy candidate, because they wouldn't pick someone who was like them. Even though, yeah, narcissists do get together, but then they hurt each other at a level that's different to, so then they don't stay together very long, because they can't overpower the other narcissist. They're both, hurting each other constantly. Whereas with an empath and a narcissist, the empath is trying to put everything back in balance, trying to smooth things over, trying to keep things calm. And that's why they prey on that's why narcissists prey on empath. Once they see that, oh, this person genuinely cares, oh, this person is a genuine, decent person, and the part of them that hates themselves hates you, because they do hate themselves. That's the messed up thing. There's a part of them that hates themselves, and you being so good and decent, they're jealous of it. So they look at you and think, look at you, you think you're so good, and they want to drag you down to hell, basically, just for being you, just for being decent. It's a messed up thing. But yeah, long story short, as they say, I believe there is some weird part of the human psyche that keeps making mistakes, because the brain or the psyche really thinks that it can win, so you go through something and you think, oh, this went bad, but I can win. Let me get another toss of the coin. Let me get another, shuffle of the deck of cards. I can do this. It's like a bad gambler, basically. It's like, yeah, it's gambling. It's a risk. You keep gambling and taking that risk, because you just assume you're going to win. It's a false sense of luck, or, and so in my mind, the human brain or human nature is just wired wrong, in the way that it doesn't, I don't know, it does not seem to have the ability to step back all the time and disconnect, especially females. I mean, I'm not saying males can't get out of control and emotional and obsessed over a woman, or a guy if they're with a guy, whatever. I just mean that there's a lot of complicated, entangled emotions that don't seem to be easy to detach. And you could ask a woman who gets beaten every day, why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? You have the money to leave. You don't have any kids. You have tons of family who will help you. Why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? And people would ask me after I finally got away from that horrible narcissist who did terrible things, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? And I was like, well, I didn't stay there that long. And they're like, no, but you stayed there long enough. And I'm like, well, it wasn't like 50 years. It was a couple years. But like, I did go through a lot in those couple of years, and it was awful and devastating, and I'm incredibly strong, and for me to be weakened that badly to the point where I was nearly wanting to jump off a cliff, that is pretty scary, because I'm really strong. So for someone to manipulate me that bad and turn everyone against me that bad and take away everything that was important to me, physically, spiritually, mentally, like, that was really scary. And when I look back, I'm not that person anymore who allowed that to happen. I'm super strong now. I thought I was tough before, but now I'm sorry, I don't mean to swear. I'm very, very it really toughened me up even more. However, the downside to that toughness that I've acquired is that I will never trust another human being again. Truly, I cannot trust anyone ever again. And even if I let someone into my life, I'll always be watching them. They'll never get that younger, happier, naive side of me ever again, because that side doesn't exist. It was destroyed, and a new phoenix from the ashes rose up with full-on metal armor that she's never taking that armor off. Like, metaphorically, my sword is always unsheathed by my side, out of the case, out of the sheath, to let people know, don't come near me. If you have bad intentions, don't you dare come near me. So this is the downfall of when we go through certain things. Some people will be willing to just continue to jump from person to person and allow things that they shouldn't allow. I'm not doing that. I'm not jumping onto no new person. Even if they do prove themselves to be a good person, I'm watching you. I have to. I cannot allow anyone to get that close, to hurt me that bad, to push me that far to the edge. Like, it can't happen again. And so that's the downfall, and it's very sad. And it just does seem that some people, out of, it's not even loneliness, that's the weird thing, because I'd rather be alone than ever let anyone treat me that way again, or ever infiltrate my life so badly that way again. But it's like, boredom is something that pushes people to just jump from person to person to person. Yes, loneliness for some, like lack of confidence, lack of boundaries, trauma because they're used to trauma, so it's familiar. Those are some reasons why people will pick toxic partners. Some people just are gluttons for punishment. Some people will pick a toxic person because that person has money, and they want the money, or they want the access to the money or status. They want to be seen as powerful because they're with a powerful person, and so they'll tolerate any humiliation or cruelty just to get some external validation, whether it's through social media or their immediate family or their immediate community or their social circle. Yeah, so there's a lot of weird reasons why people will, because when I say weird, I just mean it's a shame. It's just weird why do humans behave this way? Just like with pettiness, you could say, why are humans so petty? Why don't we work together? Why don't we, help each other? What is going on? Like, when you see people in competition with each other, hating each other for no reason, it's so stupid. Wars are being started and people being killed. Like, this is disgusting how this world is. None of it makes sense. And so yeah, I just think it would be so great if people weren't so easily manipulated, so naive, or it's just, I don't know, it's very hard. And I just, when women especially, because I can't talk for men, I might try and get some of my male friends to come on and speak about this, in a video, or we might go live on my friend's channel, and then I'll put the video here as well. But yeah, it's incredibly hard to understand why human beings tend to go towards the negative than the positive. It doesn't make sense. And like I said, there are some reasons, you know, I don't know, like I said, trauma. Some people are used to trauma. They don't even know what it is to be in a loving relationship. They never witnessed one. Their parents were abusive. You know, the people in the community were abusive, you know, so it really, you can be affected by the environment you're in. You really can. It can shape you and mess in a messed up way. But yeah, so this is the end of the video. I hope I've said some interesting points, and if you've heard anything that you can relate to or you found interesting, just like, share and subscribe, please. And if you didn't like it, that's fine. You don't have to do anything. So anyway, good night everyone, good morning wherever you are in the world. Take care and God bless, and hope to see you back on this channel again soon. Okay, bye.